Hi there, James, the Growth Executive, back for week 2 of our 5-minute growth tactics series. My favorite topic are dashboards. If you know anything about me, you know I love dashboards, and here's why. Dashboards is a kind of like a instrument panel on an airplane or in a car. It tells you exactly how fast you're going, tells you where your relation to other things. I'm an avid motorcyclist myself, so I learned early on that your engine speed needs to match your ground speed. If it doesn't, you're going to be in some trouble as far as performance and even potentially safety. Took some flight training, and again, instrument panel informs how you're doing at altitude with your engine speed, your wind speed. Man, you better know those things, or you're going to be head first into the dirt, going too fast to hit the dirt. All right, so growth KPIs. Important to understand, what are the growth KPIs and how do we measure them as a team? And why are we talking about that in week 2? Simply put, because with the dashboard, we get to jump in and know whether we're making progress or not. So if the team has defined what success looks like, and we are coming around with that agility we talked about last week as a cohesive team, RevOps, and we're looking at the data, then it's pretty hard to hide things that are happening. So I can show you some examples in our sessions together of a dashboard of a customer who had a significant churn issue and they didn't know it for 2 years, just based on the way the data was kind of hiding it from itself. And we were able to uncover that pretty quick and then address that. And that ultimately 10x their growth, right? So that's what my promise to you. Creating the clarity in the dashboard is a way to do that. Now, KPI number 1 in this particular example for this customer is going to be demos. Now, this is a company that does demos to sell software. Yours may be more free trials if you're a product-led growth model. But whether you like it or not, at every point in the sales process, whether you have a human interacting through a demo or a customer using your tool, someone is having a conversation. They're either having it with themselves as they're using your tool, or they are having it with a SDR or a sales account executive, depending on the size of the deals that you're doing. So again, we'll talk about that in our sessions, whether you are more of a demo-led or a product-led growth. But there's a conversation happening, and the first measurement is that conversation. How is that going? How many have we had? These are opportunities at bat. From there, KPI number 2 is won deals. These are where a customer breaks out a credit card, makes a purchase. And then, of course, we have net churn. Now, one caveat on net churn, the third KPI, ideally, and if you work with me over time, we're going to work very, very hard to identify the moment of wow or the moment of like, holy crap, I get what you're doing. And I love this tool. Every single one of my startups that we have bootstrapped 8 figures has gone to a point where we got crystal clear at the moment a customer said, damn it, I get it. I want more of this. How do I increase? How do I do, how do I renew? Right. So the challenge with churn is it's a little late. By the time a customer cancels, they've already made that decision. And it's not a leading indicator of how you're going to perform into the future. It's how you performed in the past. Now, I start with churn with this model with you because it is very hard unless we're coaching together. It is hard for us to draw out what that moment of activation is. So many startups struggle with it, so they just don't launch a dashboard. So we're going to start with churn just to see how you're doing against the cancellation landscape. We're going to implement some different tactics to address that, to survey those customers. We actually hit on that in weeks ahead. And then once we know our moment of wow, where our customer gets what we do, then we can measure that because that's the activation onboarding. That's powerful. Now, the line along the bottom, again, I'm a big fan of trend lines, kind of where's this going over time, different ways to present this data. And if we work together, I'm happy to show you some examples of some scrubbed dashboards from other clients so we can talk about what we're identifying, whether it be an issue with churn, activation, or simply just the close rate with development or with business development. Okay. All right. So the KPIs are meant to create a lot of clarity. There's only 3 of them that we're going to start with. There's a ton of other instrument panels. I get it. When I was doing my flight school, for example, it wasn't uncommon for me to look at the altitude or this, and for my instructor to say, "Hey, don't forget, there's like 16 dials behind this one that we can go dig into." So obviously, if something goes wrong on this dial, we can look to the right, look to the left, and identify some different things that we might want to address. For now, for the sake of just rapid succession of like, how are we doing today? What are we working on? We're going to focus on 3 dials, and if one goes off, we'll dig in and go deeper into understanding what those look like. All right, I'm James with the Growth Executive. If you have any questions, scan the QR code, jump on a call. I'm happy to work you through this. There is a resource in the email down below that you can download that will include a template to get your own dashboard up and running. If you are a coaching client, just reply that you want this. You should already have it as part of your onboarding, but just reply that you want it. And I will activate it for you, and then I will coach you to it because the dashboard creates incredible clarity as to where we are, where we're going, and even to an extent of where we've been. and what we can do about it. I'm James with the Growth Executive. I'll see you next week. Have a good day.